Hi folks, it's Jay. We are visiting the Flowering Flamingo Garden today. It's a garden with colorful perennials, an over-the-top shad, and many repurposed garden arts. It showed me how to live life in full bloom. It is featured on open gardens in Eden, New York, and I am with the gardener Don here. Hi Don, how are you?
Good, how is everybody?
First thing I saw is you have a parking area designated. It's flamingo parking only, and violators will turn pink. It's such an interesting sign. And clearly you have a flamingo theme. I can tell from the name and the sign. What's the idea behind the design to use the flamingo?
Well, a few years back, we lived in LA for a few years and I had a job at the LA Zoo.
Okay.
And my office was right out the flamingo exhibit. So I really got to enjoy the flamingos and it's just stuck with me for all these years.
It's lovely. Do you have a count of the number of flamingo in your yard? You lost count.
I lost count. There are quite a few, and there's still some up in storage, but there are quite a few flamingos in the yard.
So this is your perennial border surrounding the pool.
Right.
And they receive full sun during the day.
Full sun, and the perennials are nice around the pool because, you know, with the kids splashing in the chlorinated water, the perennials can sort of handle all the all the chemicals from the chlorine, so you don't really lose as many. And I do have ground cover underneath. So
it is a type of sedum.
It's a sedum. There's a few different varieties of sedum here.
It's cold hardy and the perennial.
Right.
Wonderful.
And it just comes up every year. When you cut the gardens back, they're pretty bare, and as springtime comes, you get to watch everything pop up, and a lot of things reseed on their own, so you never have anything in the same spot.
Exactly. So you see the perennial garden completely wrap around the pool, almost a 360-degree view of blossom in the summer, which is just lovely. Let's move on to the shad.
I have a vegetable garden. We have raised beds for the vegetables. We have all the common tomatoes, zucchini, beets. And then outside surrounding the vegetable gardens, we have, again, more perennials. We have lilies and hostas wrapping all around the outside of the gardens. We have sitting areas.
Yeah. So how did you start your garden? Did you start from the back or from the front?
We actually started from the front yard, and once we got the gardens in the front yard to where we liked them, then we just kept moving back and back. First major structure back here was the shed. My husband built that. It has a loft inside. And from there, then, you know, we...
Yeah, and you have a sign above the door, live life in full bloom.
You're right.
It's just a positive message. And what's over there?
There's a little bird sanctuary that when you sit out here, we fill the bird feeders and you can watch all the different birds come in from all over. Sometimes, you know, we have the bird identifier out and we can see where birds are coming from.
Lovely. Now let's move on to the other side of the backyard garden. You have more than a few containers hanging from the fence over there, right in front of us. What do you have in the container?
Scabola.
So it's a fan flower.
The fan flower.
So they would enjoy like a part sun, part shade.
Right.
And,
they get shade in the morning and sun in the afternoon, and they just love it there.
Yeah.
They're very hardy, easy to grow.
Yeah, and the color, they really pop with the fence as the backdrop.
It does.
And this is a pretty long stretch of fence. So with the container, with the hanging basket, it kind of break up this pattern. I noticed you have more than a few repurposed items you utilize in your garden.
Right.
So tell me, what's the idea behind this?
The repurposing is, I always am thinking, what can we do to put it into the garden? Just think of new ideas to display plants in them.
I particularly like the repurposed item in the garden. You're giving them a second life.
Right.
Rather than letting them end in a landfill, they are adding an extra dimension of character and charm to your garden. This is an area you have some of the repurposed items. Tell us about this area.
Well, some of the repurposed items I have a hanging garden up in the Christmas trees. And the containers that the plants are in are actually our old light fixtures off of our house.
Oh, okay.
So what we did is we took the metal mount off of the hangers and just added chains and planted our flowers in there. So it gives you an idea of color up in the air.
Yeah.
Like a free hanging garden.
Lovely. And this is a dragonfly.
This is a dragonfly, and it was made out of an old ceiling fan.
Right.
And we added some nuts and bolts and came up with a big flying dragonfly.
Yeah. Well, this is lovely. So for the visitor who come to see the Flowering Flamingo Garden, don't miss this area. This is right by the fence. You have probably close to 10 of the hanging light fixture container, and you use different type of flowering, petunia, and those are
million bells. We have coleus, vinca. So we have a variety here.
Yeah, let's move on to your front garden. This is your puppy. What's his name?
His name is Toby, and he's our little garden greeter. He actually enjoys the open gardens on Thursdays and Fridays.
Yeah.
He's outside with me, and he loves to get kisses and hugs from everybody.
Yeah. So cute and very, very friendly. Let's take a look at your front garden, where you have a very nice ground cover. You mentioned this is type of sedum, and they have flower. I mean, I don't recall they have flower.
Yeah, they flower yellow. They're almost at the end of their flowering, but a few weeks ago they were in full bloom, and it was just a field of yellow.
And we had a little bit of storm yesterday, so there's one pot.
We did have some storm damage, and I guess I'll have to go around the yard and do a little bit of cleanup here and there. But
so I think the takeaway for the viewer is, garden, they do not need to be perfect.
Correct.
And they need to be tended almost every day. And this is the spirit of a true gardener. We don't give up. We always work on our garden. But tell us about your container. They look so beautiful, very, very full. We're now actually in mid-July, so many people said to me, once we get into mid and late summer, the container tends to look a little tired. So what's your secret with the container?
Well, I do use a low fertilizer, 10-10-10, and I put it in once a week. And that just seems to keep the plants really pretty green and just blooming through the month of August.
This is a very good tip. So for the viewer, so if you have containers which you use for the annuals, try to do the microdose with the fertilizer. You use half or maybe even lower of the suggested dose, but you do this more frequently. How often do you do this?
I do it once a week.
Once a week with the very low dosage.
With a very low dose.
Of the chemical fertilizer.
Yep.
Yeah. For containers, for annuals, the chemical fertilizer, they're readily available to the plants. They can really help with the annual. I mean, you can put compost or other organic fertilizer, but they take time to break down.
Yeah,
so,
they do.
Yeah, they're not going to work right away. So it may be something you put in the potting mix this summer for them to really work next summer. So I always use a slow releasing or very low dosage chemical fertilizer for the annuals. So they get the benefit, they can get the nutrients right away, but you avoid causing any burn on them.
Right, annuals are fussy.
Well, thank you for sharing your garden with us, and thank you to the puppies for accompanying us for the entire walking tour. Thank you, Dawn.
Thank you.